Joined here live in studio with Coach Strn. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. I have some write-in answers from Coach Kylie Ricke of the volleyball team. I'm going to go down the list real quick for North Decatur. We have, of course, Steve Strn in studio, head coach, football, North Decatur. Kylie Ricke, head coach, varsity volleyball, North Decatur. Madeline Childress is the golf coach at North Decatur. And Kyle Nobby is the track coach at North Decatur. So, Coach, we'll dive right in. The preview show. Thanks for being an inaugural part of this. I appreciate it. We're just going to start out with some easy questions for everybody, and maybe you got some players you want to highlight tonight, some seniors. I know I talked to Coach Ricke tonight, and she said she doesn't have seniors, but she had some good leadership. So you got any players you want to highlight starting out, Coach?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to start with our captains. You know, every year people do captains different. What we do is we wait till the end of fall camp, the weekend before the scrimmage, and we let our players vote on captains. And this year the players have voted Corbin Thackeray, Hunter Meister, and Charlie Palmer. And I think those are three really good representatives of us both on and off the field. You know, at a small school, there's not a lot of secrets, and it's important to have guys like that can go out in the community and represent you in a good way. So I'm proud of those guys. Our senior class is a class of a little bit. I said the other day, a little bit of a blue collar class. They don't fill all the skill positions that you sometimes think about. Outside of Corbin and Tyler Dean in the backfield, were young. Which is good and bad. Other seniors we've got, Trenton Larson, Connor Larson, Eli Trenkamp, Bryson Aplanup, Carter Gray. That group of guys are going to be on and around the field. We also have Nolan Barber, Tyler Steven. I hate to do this. I feel like I'm going to forget somebody. If I did, I'll get them in here before it's over. But this senior class, like I said, they're kind of the glue. They're the bring the lunch pail type guys. But our senior class has a really unique opportunity. They're sitting right now in their career with 32 wins, and they certainly have the opportunity to graduate, to leave the program, having been the winningest class in school history. So that's on their radar. I'd love to see that for them. They've seen a lot in their time since their freshman year. So I'm excited about their leadership, but I'm excited about the spots they're filling on the field. There were some places that were young at quarterback, young at tailback, young at receiver, but I think the parts are there. I really do. I'm anxious for those guys to grow, to watch them grow. As a team as overall, I would say this team's got as much potential to grow and develop over the years as any that we've had in recent years.
I know you talked a little bit about leadership, and we'll touch on this next week. I know next week's going to be football coaches, so I'll have all three of you in here next week. But you've had a lot of success over the years here. How do you build on that? Just for the average person watching a program that doesn't understand what goes into it, maybe, how do you build on that success without getting those hangovers and maintain that culture?
You know, I think that's a good question, and everybody handles it different. Not everybody's able to sustain it. When you're around small schools, when I first got here, I'd look back through the history, and even though I grew up down the road, you know, we played them twice when I was in high school. One was a very forgettable experience, but I look back, and North Decatur's had success, but what they seldom had back-to-back years, and you sort of look at it and you go, you know, the parts are there, and the goal had to be we've got to level out the valleys. The peaks will take care of themselves, but leveling out the valleys when maybe you're really young or whatever it happens to be is important. And I tell you what we do more than anything else is we go back at zero. We start at zero every year, and obviously we've had success. These guys have experienced winning a sectional. They've experienced winning a regional. But you still have to go back to ground zero, and every team is unique. Caleb Downs is a kid that plays for Ohio State. I read an article about him going in right after spring break when they got back and we're getting ready for spring ball, and he asked Coach Day to take all those national championship signs down. He said, because this team hasn't done anything. You know, that was last year's team, and we need to move on. And I think that's part of it too. We celebrate the year. and we celebrate the successes. But when we have our banquet, we really try to close the book, that chapter of the book is done, and we all know it's there. We don't need to talk about it, good or bad. People on the outside the program do, but we're busy making a new team, and I think that approach helps us be steady, helps us be consistent. The bullseye gets a little bit bigger, it seems like, every year. We talk about that, but I think sustaining it is giving each team an opportunity to be their own team and to do things based on their skill level and what their attributes are.
Yeah, and Coach Ricke, volleyball at North Decatur, she kind of had the same thing about leaning on her team's dynamics and building on a team culture. She wants to create a culture that other teams envy and look at. How do you sustain that?
Well, I think the culture thing that you mentioned is a huge factor. And, what is culture? Culture is not what you do, but culture is how you do things. It's a lot of people lift weights. A lot of people, everybody practices, right? So what is it unique about you? Well, it's how you do it. Not everybody practices the same. Not everybody treats the off season the same. It started out as a joke, but it's kind of a reality that you hear some programs talk about the preseason, the off season, in season. North Decatur football has 2 seasons, this one and the next one, and we're in the middle of this one, and the next one will begin in December. Obviously, you're a ways away from playing, but that's when the season starts. So we talk about it often that when we walk out of our football banquet, that following day, that's football graduation. So all the teachers in school think that kid's a junior, but he's a football senior. And I think that's a big part of it. So the culture that I'm proud of, the commitment and the buy-in from both the parents and the players in the weight room, the different activities we do out of season, kind of goes back to the idea that's just what we do and that's how we do things. And I think that's super important.
Yeah, I mean, sustaining that success is something that you guys have been able to get a grasp on. It shows, when players are out in the community, I know they talk about how well they represent a program and things, and that's always something that you want to instill in your players and everything. And to me, that holds more value.
It does. Winning's nice, and you want to win, and you try to play and win as many games as you can. But the lifelong things that you take away are invaluable. The learning how to give to others. I think by nature, a teenager is very selfish, and we intentionally do things to put them in a position to give back to the community. And it's my goal that when they graduate, they find a place in their life as they get older, maybe have kids, that they find ways to plug back into the community, help support different activities. It doesn't have to be with money. It might just be with effort or 2 hands, and pitch in and be a part of that. I know that the people that we try to help, whether it be the Hospital Foundation or New Directions, Adams Police, they absolutely appreciate it. And our guys never fail to put a good foot forward, and I'm proud of them for that. But I think that kind of goes back to also one of the keys is knowing what the expectations are. There's not a lot of gray area in the program. Kids know what to expect based on the situation that we're in, and they toe the line, and then they turn around and they help the young guys. You got a freshman class coming in that's learning how to practice, learning how we do things, and that's what perpetuates success, and that's what perpetuates the culture. When you have a player-led culture, that's the difference between having rules. If somebody said, I had a coach in the offseason go, hey, could you send me your list of rules? And I said, I don't have any. I mean, you have rules, but we don't have them stated anywhere. We don't talk about rules. If we are a rules-driven program, that means the coach is driving the bus and the rules are driving the bus. We have standards and we have expectations that the players hold people accountable, and that becomes a player-driven culture.
Switch gears for a little bit, and I don't want to take too much away from next week's show, but looking at a new schedule this year.
We are.
Lots of new names on there for North Decatur. New conference. You want to touch on that a little bit for everybody that doesn't know that yet?
Yeah, so we brought back the old MIFC. I guess it had been on a 4-year, I'm not sure, 4 or 5 year hiatus where we kind of shelved it for a while, but we made a decision to go north, join a conference. I just think being in a conference is a natural. having been an athletic director, I know how difficult it is to schedule football. And if you're not careful, you end up with matchups that you don't like. It could be way too easy, it could be way too hard. So we joined that conference, and we started out 0-4 in the MEC, and that served us very well in regards to our growth. Turned around a year later, won the conference. So it was good for us. Now, bringing this conference back, we kept all the old parts of Milan, Switzerland County, ourselves, South Decatur, in Edinburgh, and we brought back one of the original members that was a charter member, and that being Brown County. So it's a logical fit based on proximity and based on school size. It makes sense. There's a history there. We are also adding in the fall of 27, Trinity Lutheran out of Seymour is going to join the conference. They started football a few years ago, didn't work out. They shut it down, and they brought it back. And they're bringing it back from the bottom up, which I think you have to. For this fall and the following year, they're going to play a full-blown junior high schedule, full-blown JV schedule. So the fall of 27, they will join our varsity conference. They'll also be tournament eligible. And really, that's a good number. That still gives you a couple out-of-conference games if you've got another rival or somebody you want to go pick up. So you can still play with your schedule a little bit, but it's sure nice having those solid members of your conference. So excited about that from a standpoint. You always want to play for a conference championship, but from a player standpoint, having the opportunity to be all conference, I think, is nice. And you don't want to rob that from them. So I guess our game will be the inaugural game of MIFC 2.0.
Yeah, and kickoff Friday.
Kickoff Friday, 7 o'clock.
Yep, South Decatur. Just touching on that new schedule real quick, and again, I don't want to take away from it, but I want to leave some some tidbits out there for people to look forward to next week. Looking at that schedule, it looks like it's a little bit more variety in terms of what offenses you're going to be facing. Looks like there's going to be a couple high flyers on there. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I look at our schedule, and again, I say it's very intentional. I thought a year ago the back end of our schedule may have hurt us as we went into the tournament. I thought we lost our edge a little bit, so I wanted to fix that. And part of it also was our contract with North Davies was up, and they did not want to renew it. So it was a straight-up trade. Basically, we picked up Eastern Green, which is in the same proximity, so it gives us that travel. We also pick up Linton. You want to find out how good you are, go play good people. And I compare it to very, very similar to what Lutheran was in a different way, talent-wise, but as a team, very, very good, and it's down at their place. I just think that's a no-lose situation for us. It's going to be an uphill battle. We're going to have to handle the trip, and they are super talented. They have a preseason Mr. Football candidate. That's how we're going to grow. You'd be isolated. I think growing up in Batesville as I did, if I would have known then what I know now, what an advantage. So I think we do things in the summer trying to expose our players to different teams and what good teams look like and what good players are, and that helps them to understand where they are in the big picture. Well, we're going to go stand toe-to-toe with a really good team. I think Eastern Hancock, even though they've been on our schedule, they are super talented this year. They are senior heavy, and they are very, very talented. We finish our year traveling to Franklin County, which is going to be a physical test. And you hesitate a little bit that late in the season, but I think the advantage is worth it. The plus is worth it. Go play somebody who's physical. They're going to have your attention. We'll worry about the tournament when we get to it. But I think the growth that can happen from that game can be very, very good for our program. So potentially people won't be knocked over by our record. People may look at it and go, oh, they're having a down year. The reality is our schedule took a huge upgrade. Not that we can't win them, but we're going to have our hands full. But I think it's going to help us come tournament time.
Yeah, and I asked Coach Ricke list off some of her varsity players. Of course, she said she didn't have any, but she wanted me to recognize a couple returners, varsity starters, Miley Scudder, Sarah Moeller, Sophie Rolls. Returning Miley led the team with the second highest kills last year. Sophie led the team in blocks. Sarah Moeller led the team in second highest number of service receptions. Talks about them putting the work in the off season to be the leaders. They may not be seniors, but putting in that work in the off season to be leaders, and that's what she has to have. So a couple new faces that will be varsity. She's got Eliza Kennelly is going to be starting libero for her. Maggie Burkhart stepping up. Brindley Green stepping up. Ellie Johnson stepping up. So it sounds like she I don't want to use the term rebuild because I don't like that terminology, but I think she's growing leaders, and that's what you need in a program.
I think so too. And obviously it's a small school. We're in the weight room. We either follow them in or they follow us in. So we see each other all summer, and I'm excited for Kylie. She's brought some energy that the girls gravitate to. Things have been very positive. Girls are looking forward to it. You ask them, how things are going, and they are. They're very upbeat. That's part of being young, is that there's a lot of growth that they can go through, but the core returners that they have are outstanding. I mean, they're not seniors yet, but they're going to be good players, and I think you got something strong to build around. Girls seem to get along, and for Kylie, it's not rebuilding. It's just her first year as a head coach, so she's going to learn. I told Bree Metz is going to be one of her assistants. I was going to nominate her as assistant coach of the year, so let me officially cast that ballot for her. But Kylie has surrounded herself with a good group of coaches, and I think those girls appreciate it. They'll get better as the year goes, and I wouldn't cast a lot of doubt on them if things don't go well. They lost a tough one the other night, but they were in the hunt to a very good team, so that's a good sign.
Well, when you have Miley Scudder, who is just a force out there, yep. She's going to be something come that senior year. Coach, what excites you? If I said what's exciting you this year, what's really putting that smile on your face, what's exciting you this football season?
Honestly, the next game. You do it a long time, and I think when you lose that excitement, that anticipation, it's probably time to get out. This team is exciting from the standpoint of their upside and their potential for growth is really good. Matthew Field, Simon Barber, Charlie, Henry Kinker, those guys are sophomores, and they're all over the field, and we're going to depend on those guys. But those guys are so far from their potential right now. That's super exciting. I look down the road. Youth football kicked off last Saturday, and our young guys did great. In our 5 games, I think we outscored our opponent 102-24. There's kids coming that we need to keep building. We need to keep pushing. Youth football night this Friday is a time to celebrate them, but that's exciting to me. That's exciting to see those young guys walk in the hallways. We have a good-looking 8th grade team. They had a tough loss the other night, Monday night, to Franklin County, but you look at our guys, and the cupboard is certainly not bare, and kids like football, and they've taken to the weight room. It's part of our culture, so I kind of feel like it's up to me. Here the parts are here. I've got to put them in the right place.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time. I'll see you next Wednesday. Good luck on the season. Thanks to Coach Kylie Ricke, the North Decatur volleyball team, for getting some comments and some statements. But, Coach, best of luck. Session 1, we'll be right back with Greensburg here on OverTime.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Overtime. We're here with Coach Troy Davis at Greensburg, cross country, Coach Isaac Sliger, football, Greensburg. Just going to go down the list here of the other varsity coaches just so everybody knows. We have Jess Barker, that's volleyball, Kyle Sellers, tennis, Josh Grossman, girls golf, Cody DeVold is boys soccer, and Shiloh Schrader is girls soccer. So, coaches, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We'll start this segment out just like we did last one. Just start out here, highlight your senior, your returning players, just for everybody to take note of that.
Yeah, so for us, obviously the last few years, everybody recognizes guys like Carson Kilgore and Austin Cruz. In the box, we've also got guys like Jeremiah Alexander, Austin Adams, Tyson Backover. A couple new guys, too. Cam Parkinson is a guy that came out here as a senior as well. We've also got a new kicker this year, Ethan Smith, going to be a senior soccer kid also who's came out to join us. It's been a group in particular, and then obviously also forgot about this. Eli Powers has joined us as well. We've got a pretty good group of seniors this year that have kind of gone through the ringer over the last couple of years, obviously. But they've done a really good job working their tail off this off season and trying to lead by example.
We've got 5 senior boys, led by Joe Hawkins. He was a state qualifier last year in cross. Xavier Cassius had a really good summer, logged over 300 miles for us. Luke Dwanger, Dante Hess, and Malachi Nicolaitis also round out our seniors. We actually don't have any senior girls, but we've got a top junior coming back for us, Elena Badel. She was also a state qualifier as a sophomore and was all conference last year for us. So we're excited to have that leadership.
Let's talk about success and culture for a little bit. How do you come in with a new season, new approach to keep everything fresh going into a new season?
Well, I guess I'll speak for me. It's a little different because this is my first year here. But in retrospect, also, I can kind of tag on some things throughout the process along the way with what I've endured. But, I think any time that you come into a situation like for us where we're trying to rebuild a program, we've got to kind of distinctively set ourselves and understand what we do, what our daily decisions are, what we believe in, what we act on, and what we don't allow. Early on, it's kind of a culture shock because you're trying to renew that and understand from a new mindset. As that obviously progresses and you get into that understanding, I think you just have to continue to press the nose on it. It's easy at times for us to kind of get a little lazy in that approach to where, we've been here for a few years, they should understand it. But I think that's where the hard part comes into of sustaining a culture is the long-term piece of, no, this is still what we do. Now we've got to go raise it another notch. That's where it really starts to turn into championships. But, it's, again, just getting a group of guys to understand and believe in that, making that the best part of their day to where they want to show up and then bring others along the way as well.
I'd say for us, we've been really stressing consistency is key. With distance running, you just got to run every day. Feel good, you got to run. It's rain outside, we got to run. It's hot and it's 9 degrees and it's August in Indiana. We're still going to run. But the kids have really bought in on that. We were at a meet last night, weather delay, step in the field house, wait half an hour, 90 minutes, whatever it was, come back out and compete. And our seniors have really bought into that. We've got, like I said, 5 seniors, and then Elena on the girls' side as a leader. They've got some championship experience. We've got kids that are all conference, kids that are state qualifiers, and just those kids stepping up and leading. We've got a nice group of young kids, and we've got 2 new sophomore girls who have never ran cross country before. So on the guys' side, we've got nice balance of experience and new kids. On the ladies' side, we only have 2 returning varsity athletes from last year, so we've got to kind of rebuild a little bit there. On the ladies' side, but excited about the potential we have for success coming up.
What's the key? Of course, I'm not a runner, clearly. What's the key? You said you have two new runners. How do you motivate them, or what's the key to get them to?
We just talk about getting a little bit better, every week. So we started, we started logging summer miles June 1st, and for those kids, they can see it. We'll do a workout, and week 1 they're running, I'm going to say 8-minute pace for a mile. By the end of the summer, we're running 7:30 pace per mile. On the ladies' side. On the guys' side, we try to have markers for time, and on the guys' side, we have 15 kids, so we can put in training groups, and hopefully the kids recognize, hey, I want to move up to the next group. I don't want to be in the 4-minute K group. I want to move up and get faster. So, and that kind of the culture of improving every day and not settling where, for the boys, we got a JV and a varsity. So, if you're a JV kid, hey, look at those varsity kids who are doing a practice, try to emulate them, work hard like them, and challenge them for a spot.
Switch gears a little bit. Tough schedules. Like, you guys have some tough schedules. Of course, that conference I think is pretty tough every year. I think that's an underrated conference, really. Honestly, I think people look at it locally and they're like, but from a outside looking in, I think that's a tough conference. Year after year, it's an absolutely tough conference. Thoughts on preparing or getting that mindset for everybody going into those tough games this year?
Yeah, I think, again, from a football standpoint, you look at the IAC, and year after year, you have East Central who's competing for a state championship. Generally, the winner of our sectionals making a run towards semi-state and possibly even beyond that. Over the last several years, whether it's been Batesville, whether it's been Lawrenceburg, they've been able to kind of spark a little bit of a run and make it pretty deep. So week in, week out, football-wise, it's Southeastern Indiana football where it's very physical, a lot of tight end sets. There's a small period of time where teams started to kind of spread it out a little bit, and it's slowly worked its way back into, having multiple tight ends, fullbacks, and, it's a lot of downhill physicality. For us, again, that's the style of football that we play now. We want to bring violence between the whistles. So for us, getting us mentally prepped for that, obviously comes from our non-conference games. This week we open up with Shelbyville, who's, a quality 4A opponent, and then obviously another HHC opponent after that. So, we've got a pretty tough non-conference schedule right out the gate, which I do think helps prepare us for the long haul with our conference. But it's one of those things, again, where, we've got to set the expectation early. We make sure to set a precedent in violence during practice. We try to be as physical as we can, and while still taking care of the kids in the process. But, it's, again, just understanding of what type of football we are now and, having our kids understand that and go execute.
Yeah, and just, I don't know, just me thinking, do you see kids getting excited, especially those freshmen? They come out there and they see that turf. Do you see a change in excitement?
Yeah, I would say not even just from a freshman standpoint. This year we've got 50 guys that are back out. So, the last 2 years, I think, our program's hovered around 30 kids. So we're right around the 50 mark now. We've got about 16 freshmen that have came out of this group. We've got a good chunk of seniors, like I said, and then really the bulk really comes from that junior class for us. But no, it's obviously our facilities are fantastic.
Yeah, amazing.
When you compare it to the rest of the conference outside of East Central, I'd put us right up there. Yeah. And there's even some things that I would even argue for us as well with that. Our kids are really blessed. That, again, goes out to our administration for taking pride in that for our kids and our community for taking that as, a primary example. But no, it's all those little things that kind of combine into that. And then obviously when, we're able to put together great coaching staffs for an entire school, that's obviously why we've continued to be able to have success as a school here.
So, Troy, how do you guys get ready for that tough conference? Do you prepare different for, say, an East Central than you do at Shelbyville, or is it just the same mindset with?
No, our schedule kind of builds. We actually had our first meet last night. Smaller meet, 3 or 4 teams. And this Saturday we actually go to Madison for an 8-team meet. And then next week starts our big schedule. We go to Franklin Community High School. Columbus North's preseason number 1 in the state. They'll be there. A couple other ranked teams. And then we run at bigger invitationals 3 weekends in a row. We go to Franklin Community. We go to Columbus, and then we go to Brown County. So we build and it's a non-class sport. So Columbus North gets off the bus, Carmel gets off the bus, Zionville gets off the bus. We're going to go race. It's a challenge. The kids know that. We're not going to go undefeated, but we are going to get better every week. And with cross country, it's 5,000 meters. We want to be faster in September than we were in August, and we run our best in we run our best in October in the tournament series. So that's what we're gearing up for. So if we can take our lumps early, be ready to race fast at the end.
So, Coach Davis, what excites you? If I said what's really going to put a smile on your face, what's really exciting you about this year, what can you let everybody know here on Overtime? What really is getting you excited this year?
Joe Hawkins, he had a great race for us last night. He opened up, ran about 5:08 for his first mile, but was in second place with about half mile to go and was able to close out under 4 minutes and 50 seconds for the mile and take the win last night for us, which is awesome. And then selfishly, I'm coaching my daughter. She's a freshman, so she was on the winning team last night as well. So I'm excited to seeing her work hard and have a great summer. But selfishly, I'm going to try not to put my dad hat on too many days at practice. But it was nice to have a little pride watching her have success. And that freshman class, the freshman class has been great. I've seen those kids grow up with Eleanor, and looking forward to coaching them the next 4 years.
Coach, what about you? What really has you excited this year?
Obviously the 6 home games is really exciting. But no, as far as players go, obviously Carson Kilgore is one that kind of pops off. People are going to see him with the ball in his hands a lot more than what he's had last year. Austin Cruz is another who's had a really good offseason. Even outside of that, our new starting quarterback, which would be Levi Muckerhide, he's a sophomore for us. When you look at the tape from where he was at the end of last year to now, it's a completely different kid. He's put on 30 pounds this offseason, done a fantastic job as a sophomore, learning everything in a very limited amount of time. And then I'd also say a few other young guys like Max Grimes, who is, a relentless worker. Jai Jackson's another one that you're going to see on a Friday night, and then over in our skill room as well with guys like Ethan Bishop and Miles McKenzie, who have done a really, really good job for us this offseason.
So closing out our segment here in the next couple minutes, we're going to do. Didn't get a chance to do it with Coach Strn, but we're going to do it here. Just a final take. So just something you want the people to take away today, Coach Davis. What's your final take?
We just love to see some support at our home meets. We have 2 home meets. We have our invitational in September, and the county meets also in September at home. So come out, support us.
And you want to let everybody know where you run?
Oh, we run at the Greensburg Elementary School. So take Lehman Way. We'd love to see a big crowd back there with our invitational. We're hoping to have a DJ. We got about 20 schools. Lawrence North comes out from Indianapolis. Ron Colley comes out from Indianapolis. We have all the conference schools. I believe all the conference schools will be there, North and South Decatur. It'd be a great way to support the runners in our community, and we'd love to have you.
Coach?
Friday night's first night. We're home against Shelbyville. We want to be able to pack the stands, obviously. We've got a community tailgate that's going on. Our student section's got one that's going on there in the parking lot as well. We're doing a teacher appreciation night as well as just a community appreciation night for, everything that, has been given to us and our kids over the last several months. We just, again, go fill the stands, go support these guys. We've got some really fantastic leaders. Tyler Williams is one that's a senior that I don't think I mentioned earlier, that he's done a fantastic job for us. Again, guys like Kilgore and Cruz have done fantastic. Austin Adams, these guys have, kind of gone through the mud a little bit on some things. And that's part of rebuilding the process, obviously. But just come out, support those guys, and, go support Pirate football, and let's rebuild this thing.
So, I think we are ahead of schedule here. Or I got ahead of schedule here, I should say. So go back to, you have 6 home games?
Yes.
6 home games.
Yep.
Wow.
So we open Shelbyville. Week 2 is home also against Greenfield. Then we're on the road at Connorsville. Back home for 2 weeks with Lawrenceburg and South Dearborn. Back on the road at Franklin County. Back home for homecoming against Batesville at EC. And then senior night will be home against Rushville.
All right, coaches, we're going to wrap up this segment here, and then we'll switch you out, and we'll bring in South Decaturs. And anything else, coaches?
Nope. Just thank you for having us tonight.
Yeah, we're really excited. I know when we came up with this idea about bringing all the coaches in, I would have liked to have wrestling and tennis and everybody here, but just bringing Coach Davis here with cross country. Coach, have you been on here before Coach's show?
I have not in a long time. So thank you very much for appreciating letting me promote my program, and thank you for the time on the radio tonight.
But you'll be back
I will.
Again with our new format. So we're excited. Hope everybody else gets excited, and we'll move on to South Decatur and get everybody back here in the for all the action here on Overtime at 1330 WTRE. All right, welcome back to Overtime. I'm your host, Nick Messer. Going to run down the South Decatur coaches for everybody. We have the South Decatur volleyball coach is Devin Sutliff, varsity football coach Rodney Martin, cross country is Bethany Fromer. Yep, that's it for South Decatur coaches. Opening show here, the preview show. We just wanted to bring you some information and touch on some stuff. We'll be back, obviously, next week. We'll have all three football coaches on, Coach Martin, Coach Sliger, and Coach Strn from North Decatur to discuss a little bit of post-game and pre-game prepping for the following week. But thanks for joining us here on 1330 WTRE, and this has been Overtime with Nick Messer. Thanks.